Okay, Cooldown Room, Spain, guys. It's Recreate Play, Pit Crew. Hey, Vinyl, Chris. How's your week, guys?
Yeah, it's been really good. I don't know, like looking forward to the next race in Montreal. I think after
Mm-hmm.
the controversy, we'll get to that later, I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah. Chris, how's your week, mate?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I think, to be honest, it's kind of nice to have a weekend off, time to process, because
Yeah,
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 it's so intense and fast and furious that yeah, it's. I mean, I never thought I'd say this, but yeah,
yeah.
it feels nice to almost have a weekend off after the triple header.
Yeah, it's been coming thick and fast, and it's good to have a bit of time to process what's going on, especially with this race, and to have some time to take it all in. Let's go through it, guys. So,
The start.
the start. Lap one. Go through it, guys. Max, early overtake on Lando. Obviously, the podium positions, the qualifying was not what we thought it would be. Lando really recovered from. Go through it, Chris. I'm fucking shattered.
No,
Chris,
I mean,
go on.
yeah, I'm sure he would have been disappointed to see Max get through, but I think it's just starting on the dirty side. I think
Yeah.
I don't think he had a terrible start. I think just it was a bit more difficult being on the dirty side. Max, is going to get 101% out of the first corner, and he did. But Lando knew it was going to be a long race, and on their pace, I
Yeah.
guess there was
Yeah,
plenty of
and
time to get it
Lando
back.
knew because it's an aero circuit, and I just think the aero advantage of McLaren was highlighted to its nth degree here. Like there's no other circuit like Barcelona to really show up who's working and who's not.
Yeah.
Such as Williams especially not working
Yeah. So
on the
lap
circuit,
one-
even in spite of their recent form.
Yeah, Williams has fallen off suddenly. We thought there was a bit of resurgence, but their front wing damage early, both front wing damage. Lap one, Albon and Sainz, not a great weekend.
It was disappointing for them. I mean, Albon, I think it was probably his worst weekend of the year, and never really looked that quick or comfortable all weekend with the car. So yeah, I think like Mike said, just showed up
Yeah.
who's got the aero package hooked up for those kind of high speed flowing corners.
Yeah, Albon
Absolutely.
with
And
the
even
retirement.
James Vowles commented afterwards. Sorry, Mike. James Vowles commented afterwards. They tried to iron out some of the nasty characteristics of their car with a bit more mechanical grip, but this is a purely aero circuit, so those nasty bits they couldn't iron out, I think, were brought to the fore.
Yeah. So Albon with retirement, Sainz with position 14, forgettable weekend for Williams. Lap 10, we had Leclerc and Hamilton swapping positions. Hamilton not
This
really
is going to
able
happen all
find-
season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mike, I cut you off
Yeah.
again. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's all right. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, yeah, I think this is going to happen all season. Like, obviously Hamilton wants to stay relevant both on the track, on and off the track, and they're both getting a reasonable amount out of the car. Obviously, Leclerc a little bit more in recent times, but yeah, they're going to be next to each other a lot, and I think they're going to be on the radio a lot this season and repeating this charade of who's got more pace on track.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think maybe it's also kind of what happens to the fourth best, fastest car at the circuit, because there's a big gap between the top four and the midfield. So they tend to split the strategy. We'll try and see if we can do something fancy to
Different, yeah.
get on the podium, and then they're going to come. One's going to be quicker at a certain point in the race, even if they're behind. So
Yeah,
pressure
pressure tyres.
make that call.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
especially
Albon
if there's
retires. Sorry, Mike, go on.
I was going to say, especially if there's some jeopardy like safety car, and then they're both on a similar part of the circuit, that's going to compromise someone's race strategy in regards to double stacking, or who's going to take pit priority and so forth. So I think if they're on the similar pace in the track, they're going to be stuck with each other from strategy as well.
Yeah.
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 All right, the next incident we have marked on the lap by lap recount was Max overtakes Lando back. Then Albon retires after Lawson front wing touch. So as we were saying, forgettable weekend. Lap 41, Leclerc was the first to take the early undercut, the first pit. And then lap 48, Max was the first to 3-stop. Then we have a Lawson-Behrman battle at 52, 53. Kimi off track, out from 7th, power unit failure. Second race in a row for Alonso. Merc reliability issues, guys, over at Aston Martin.
Yes, it's McLaren haven't experienced it, right? But Aston Martin and Mercedes are bearing the brunt of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's both the factory car and also the customer car as well. So, yeah, it just seems Mercedes has seemed impervious during this era in regards to reliability, but it's just really uncharacteristic and strange and worrying, I guess, for Mercedes and I suppose also McLaren as well. Like if one McLaren has a engine failure and it does a Lewis 2016 in Malaysia and has an engine problem that decides the Drivers' Championship, it's just potentially bad for one of the McLaren drivers.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I guess we'll wait to see. I mean, we don't have the other. Maybe it's because Mercedes and Aston are turning it up to 11 to try and, compromise for their lack of aero, qualities at this track. I don't know, but yeah, it certainly hasn't happened to McLaren yet. But we have to wait and see. I'm sure they'd be concerned seeing other Mercedes engines blow up.
Yeah. Guys, can I get your take on Lawson's driving? Obviously Lawson had the contact with Albon. Lawson's under pressure because Hadjar is really his light's really shining at the moment.
Quite desperate.
Is his driving?
Wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say. I'm keen to get your take on it.
That's all I have to say. Desperate and wild. Like you can feel the anxiety through the through the car. He just looks very on edge, desperate to keep every position. Not measured, not composed. Yeah, I feel sorry for the young lad.
Yeah, I think he also hit Alonso, like turn 1 or certainly first lap.
Yeah, he did.
That's what unsettled.
First lap.
That's what. Yep. That's why Hulk and then Albon, I think, both went to escape road because they were trying to avoid it. So yeah, he was just like that one on Behrman was horrible. Like it was just way back. Like never going to make it. Shouldn't have even been thinking about making the pass. So like Mike said, it's really desperate. So didn't look good. And it wasn't the first time in the race. But we know what Alonso and him have already had a few choice words. So I think it was significant that I think it was last lap maybe that Alonso, or the last couple of laps, Alonso passed him for the last point, so.
What can Racing Bull to get him to rear back in? Or what could Liam do to rear back in? Because he's a better driver than this. I mean, he's under so much pressure. We've seen obviously drivers from the Red Bull program get demoted to RB before, but not with this kind of level of this quickly in the season. And with this much drama. And now Isaac Hadjar is really driving well. He must be feeling. He's going through it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be so curious to see the difference in the telemetry between the two drivers. Like, obviously, my impression is that Hadjar drives the car very on the limit, but it seems like the car's moving around less. Like, he doesn't have those kind of wild moments like Liam does. So I'm not sure if Liam's just not driving as close to that limit, and when he does, he really steps over it, or he's just overdriving the car in general. Like, does he need to drive slower to drive faster?
Yeah, it could be. I haven't seen the telemetry, I don't know, but I don't know. I mean, Red Bull's excuse for sacking him was that, we could see the psychological damage. It wouldn't be fair to keep him in the car any longer. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the damage is already done. Yeah. Maybe he's always going to be looking over his shoulder now, thinking, next race I'm out. I've got to do it this race. I don't know. But yeah, it seemed like when he went back to Racing Bulls, it should have been that the pressure was, fairly off. It's like, you're back here now, chill. you know, you got the rest of the season. Go
Yeah,
show us what
lead
you can really
driver.
show us what you can really do. But
You can easily beat this rookie, but now this rookie
yeah,
is showing
Yeah.
him up.
yeah, and we got
Shades
to
of
remember
Ricardo, man. This feels like Ricardo 2.0 all over again. This is hard to watch. But
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we got to remember also he's no seasoned
no.
veteran, you know, compared to the rookie. They're both pretty much rookies, sort of, you
Mm.
know, especially jumping into the car not mid-season, but not having the build-up at the start of the season in the
No.
car. I
But
think,
he
you
has
know,
he certainly has the pedigree, whereas you know what I mean.
yeah,
Isaac
yeah.
is less heralded, I guess, but yeah, Isaac Hadjar doing good things,
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
And that's the thing.
so
Like, I
yeah,
think he wasn't a shoe-in. He wasn't a shoe-in for that seat. I think it was like Red Bull, I guess, in their mind, in everyone else's mind, was taking a punt on Isaac Hadjar. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he covered himself in glory in FP1 sessions. Maybe as an F2 driver, he wasn't seen as like the next natural progression to F1. But it's amazing how these kind of left to centre picks sometimes pay off, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. We don't have
And
all the information, but that's my impression.
yeah. And, you know, I mean, they're all under pressure, but maybe the media show with Lawson going and coming and all that took the spotlight off him, and he could just, you know, go under the radar a bit and concentrate on doing what he had to do. You know, I don't know. But my rookie of the year, Hadjar, so far,
yeah,
I think he's been exceptional.
yeah. Kimmy started strong, but Isaac Hadjar has been exceptional. Yeah. So this is where all the crazy stuff starts to unravel.
Oof. Are we ready?
Okay, so safety car comes out. Max goes to hards. From I think he was in first, and then he falls back to third at the time. He should he first of all should he have stayed out? I mean, if he was kind of confused as to he had a used pair of softs, but he was confused as to the strategy. A lot of people are confused as to the strategy here. At that point, do you go for the win, or do you put yourself out on hards? I mean, it's this
I
or
think
that, right?
it was the best of a bad situation for them because they had a set less tires than everyone going into the race. They couldn't stay out. Like we saw what Hulkenberg did to a Ferrari on a new set compared to an old set. So they couldn't have stayed out. They would have just gotten. It's not like he would have had any advantage because of the safety car. So they would have all been lined up behind him on the start. He would have just got monstered, I think, on old tires.
8
So
laps to go.
the problem was that they had one less set than everyone else, so everyone else could go in. That was the dangerous maybe of going for a 3-stopper, right? They could not. It was just unlucky for the safety car for them. It's the worst possible timing. We've used all our tires. All of a sudden, there's a safety car. Everyone else can put on new tires. So, you know, that happens.
Varner?
Yeah, but also surely, like this, with all the strategy meetings with F1, that surely they know that they plan for if there's a late safety car, what do we do? So everyone would really be on the same page. Like, look, if there's a late safety car, we go on to hards or we go on to softs. It's not something that
Yeah,
maybe they haven't discussed, but I guess
No.
maybe during
I
the
agree.
race
Well,
they can pivot. Obviously, you can't be stuck in a certain direction and have your strategy
Well-
nailed on the wall. But yeah, like surely they knew
Well,
one of the two
The final
options
finish
was
fix.
available.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they went for the gamble that let's go for a 3. We know McLaren's on a 2-stopper. Let's go for a 3-stopper. The analytics says it's 50-50, you know what I mean? So maybe if we do that, we can pull something, and that's our only hope of winning when we don't have a faster car. So I think they tried that, and it was a good strategy. Like it was exciting and it was competitive, but as soon as that late safety car came out, and they didn't have another set. Well, it ruined the strategy. And I'm sure they planned for that and said, yeah, well, if that happens, obviously we're going to have to use the rubbish tire. But fingers crossed, there isn't a late safety car. You know, I think that's what they were thinking. And you know, once the late safety car, they were doomed. There was nothing they could do. Like,
Okay, on the resumption, Max snaps, his tyres aren't warmed. Charles comes into contact with him. Then Russell comes into contact with him. Then Max off track, and keeps the lead, and then lap 64, Max is told to let GR through. Max disputes this, and, you know, the on-air commentators are like, no, he shouldn't be let through. Ironically now, the FIA and F1 have said that there wasn't a penalty forthcoming for Max, so he should have held his position. But Max has a bit of a mental lapse here. Vinyl.
Yeah, like I think like the first hit from Charles Leclerc at over 300 kilometers an hour on the straight, like you can see Max's head in the cockpit noticeably gets like moved around by that. And Charles later admitted in the Cooldown Room, nice name, thank you, is that that he did push Max across, like he did want to be on the marbles. He deliberately moved across on the straight to try and like clean his tires, which like you still have to give the other driver space. So I think that was what started the tension, and then just led on from there, I guess. Like it was a series of events that led Max to do what he did.
See red.
Yep, to literally see red, and to do, which is not an excusable action. Like what he did was, it was clearly deliberate, and it was clearly...
it was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It should have been a black flag, I reckon. That's a black flag. If you intentionally drive into someone, you know, to cause contact, I reckon that should be a black flag. Like, that's not odd. Like, you know, maybe they weren't going at speeds that anyone was going to get hurt or whatever, but you can't ram into someone because you're angry. Like, I think that's the definition of a black flag for me. And I think Nico, like Rosberg called it on the commentary, like straight up. He was like, that straight away. Like, you can't do that. Like, you know, you can give a penalty, 10-second penalty, whatever. But if you really want to make the message that you cannot intentionally drive into somebody, which should be very clear to all of them, just say, yeah, that's a black flag. You can't do that. You're disqualified.
Yeah.
Straight away. That's dangerous. You know.
You can see the culmination though in the escalation though. Do you know what I mean? Because of the lack of intervention. Like Charles making contact, nothing.
George making contact.
Yeah. Then Max being told to let someone through who actually didn't have, you know, the right to, or wasn't technically right. And no intervention from the, you know, from the stewards immediately that sort of cut it off.
Yeah, but Max is still not going to resolve the problem, right? Like,
yeah, but they left it to the driver to resolve it, which was a big mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just make one small comment?
Yeah, no, make a big one.
Not a big one, but like I thought it was incredibly well judged how Max could then hold back and make axle-to-axle contact with George. It was like he was obviously driving to the rule of axle-to-axle contact, and to come from that far back and to place in the middle of corner and to make axle-to-axle contact, I thought it was really well judged. Like, it was a terrible move, but it was incredibly well judged.
That's how you do it. If you're going to do it, that's
how you do
it.
Yeah. It was ugly, but well judged.
Yeah, very precise at his accident, if that's a, you know, oxymoron.
Exactly.
So post that, Max gets a 10-second penalty plus penalty points. He's 1 point from one race ban, which could jeopardize his entire, you know, run at the championship. Not that he's necessarily a top contender, but he is the defending champion. Is he? Is he in trouble now? For throwing his season away? Is this the turning point? Or one of the turning points?
Yes.
Well, he's not going to.
Chris,
sorry, he's not going to go.
Just the final finish.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, he joins the K-Mag club of point penalties on the sidelines. Yeah, I think that this is the point where it's just going to be like, I'm going to go for it when I can, and it's not about a serious points challenge for the championship. It's just about be scrappy and be a terrier whenever we can cause a nuisance and try and get as much out of the season as possible.
Yeah. Chris,
what do you reckon, Chris?
Yeah, I was just going to say there's no way he's going to get through the season on one point, right? So, yeah, he will top a ban at some point. And yeah, I don't think he's given up in the championship. Like, he's still hoping, you know, Rebel can get their shit together and get some upgrades happening that bring him closer.
After the break, you don't know what can happen after the break with the development, you know. So
I mean, he's still right in it. Like we said, the McLarens both blow up one weekend. Max brings it home. You know, all of a sudden they're all back to very close to even Stevens. So yeah, there's still a long way to go. I don't think Max is thinking about not winning the championship. And I think that's why that was such a dumb move. Like, a lot of points, a lot of hard-earned points just thrown away. Something stupid, So
what did we think of the other drivers' takes after this action? So George's response was, I'll read a few out. That George Russell, that's how Max goes racing. He was in 4th, I was in 5th. I ended in 4th, he ended in 10th. That says it all. And then, we had some giggles in the post-press conference with Lando and Oscar. Like, that's not what you said about... Tell them what you said about Max, guys. Tell them, bit of talking outside the playground. What do we think? Bit of comeuppance, bit of the little dog's barking back at the big dog.
Yeah, I think that everyone knew that Max had to take a penalty at some stage. Couldn't he keep on getting away with it? But I guess the penalty, in most drivers' eyes, was relatively small. I guess. I like what Chris said before about Rosberg. I think most drivers would probably view that as a black flag kind of penalty. If it was in any other kind of formula, I would say.
Chris?
Yeah, well, I'd agree with both of you. Yeah, I think they probably think he got off lucky, but at the same time, he only got 1 point. So as far as, I think Lando and Oscar are concerned, they're like, well, yeah, that's okay. That's enough. But, yeah, also, they're having a laugh. Because haha, he did it again. He got done. So yeah, I think they're enjoying the moment. To be honest.
So is it time then to move on to is it an Oscar or Lando championship? Because it's now clearly a 2-horse race. Who's going to handle the pressure? Who's going to be able to pull in front of the other? Who's going to play the long game in regards to, how aggressive they are in turn 1, if it's going to be them on positions 1 and 2 in the future? It's going to be tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the strategy, as we go on in the season, the strategy will favour the person in front, which at this stage is Oscar. He's 10 points ahead of Lando. But yeah, I agree. I think it's becoming a clear two-person race. McLaren 1-2. Chris, what do you reckon?
Yeah. Well, I think if McLaren go by their, I don't know, papaya rules, I think the strategy on, during a race will go with the person in front on track. I mean, unless one of them is way ahead of the other in the championship and there's a threat from a third car, right? Like Charles or Max, but that's only if they're close, right? Otherwise, it's going to be, well, it's up to you guys, and the team rules will be something like whoever's in front can make the pit stop call, that kind of stuff. So, I don't think they'll really favour one or the other necessarily, but yeah. To be honest, I don't think they'll have to. I don't know. I think Oscar's looking good. I think he's looking pretty damn good.
Yeah. I think they might favour...
I
get the feeling they might favour Oscar only because it's their first Drivers' Championship in a long while. It's Zach's first championship, and he might just want to lock it up before he lets them really go racing. I don't know if I agree with that, but I just get the sense that it's like, you know what I mean? Lando's, it's not his season.
Yeah. I wonder if they're ever going to shoot themselves in the foot like at Monza, where they're so busy racing each other that that they don't see the threat from behind. They'll probably be so far in front of the championship it doesn't matter that much. But when you're in front, you never want to make that pit stop, even if your tyres are degrading, because what if? Whereas the person behind can always make the more aggressive strategy and pit for new tyres. They've got nothing to lose. So maybe if Lando's behind enough and have nothing to lose, may they pit him and Oscar gets aggrieved because the guy behind got to pit. I was on the conservative strategy, but in the end it didn't work out for me. Yeah. I don't know. It's happened a few times before when, in Hungary, when Max and Lewis had that infamous battle with new tyres versus holding on old tyres.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the Spain results, Oscar takes it, Lando second, Charles third, George fourth, Nico Hulkenberg in fifth. Incredible run.
Hulkenberg.
Yeah, well done, Nico. Hulkenberg, Lewis in 6th, Isaac Hadjar with some great points in 7th, Pierre Gasly in 8th, Fernando Alonso in 9th, Max all the way down in 10th, and then we have the best of the rest, Liam Lawson, Bortoletto, Yuki, Sainz, Colapinto, Ocon, Behrman, and Kimi in plumb last with Albon.
Yeah, I mean, I think we spoke about Lawson. Pretty ugly race for him. Good race for Fernando. Like, he was very racy. Did what he could. I thought. Like, good for him. First points of the season for him at home, which would have been nice for him. But yeah, he was really racy. Like, he was trying stuff, not always getting it done, but he was going for it. I think you could see after quali how psyched he was with the lap. So yeah, he was really, I guess, buoyed by the home crowd, I think, and had a good weekend, strong weekend.
Shall we talk about his teammate? Let's get into it.
Yes, let's get into it.
Give us
What
a summary.
happened?
Let's give us a summary, Vinyl. What happened?
So the rumours are that he was very angry after the race and had a outburst in the pits.
Yeah.
After quali.
Let's start with the official press release. Day before the race, Aston Martin say Stroll can't race tomorrow, so we're withdrawing the car because obviously you can't sub a driver in that hasn't run qualifying.
That's a great summary. I should have started with that, Mike.
No,
But
I'm leading in for you. Go on. And
Yeah,
so they couldn't get Drugovic into the car, basically.
Yeah, because he was eliminated in Q2. You have to qualify to be able to race.
Yeah.
And since the second drive didn't qualify, then the car couldn't race.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
And so apparently it all stems from the cycling accident that he had previously when he broke his wrists.
Right.
And
Of the infamous
his
"Can you
physical
wank
condition.
again yet?"
Sorry?
Of the infamous Lando quote, "Can you wank it yet?" Again, yeah.
I didn't hear that one, actually. That's quite amusing.
On Netflix. Have you heard that? Yeah.
No, that's gold. And yeah, so that he didn't race, and now he's out of potentially the Canadian Grand Prix, and they're scrounging for a replacement. Right. Apparently, Drugovic and Stoffel Van Dorn have both committed to Le Mans, so they'd have to sacrifice their Le Mans seat. And if Valtteri Bottas takes the seat, apparently he has to serve a 5-place grid penalty from when he had contact with Magnussen in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
Talk about bad options. So, like, at the time, before this other stuff that we're about to get into came out, I thought, what a prick. Like, he could have told everybody about his sore wrist last week, given Drugovic some time to cancel his other, commitments. And at least Aston Martin would have had a second car on the grid. And then we found out something else has happened, and I thought, what a prick. So Vinyl. So that leads us back into what you were about to talk about.
Well, I don't know. Like it's all rumours. I guess we won't know until maybe later if it comes out that he had a hissy fit in the pits after getting eliminated in Q2.
Well, also, sorry, can I just throw in?
Go ahead.
Because he was having his hissy fit in the pits, he didn't go straight to get weighed, right, after quali, which everyone's mandated to do. So straight away, because it was at least 5 minutes later, he was in the pits for 5 minutes, and then he went to get weighed. Yeah. He was going to get a penalty for the race, right? So he was out in Q2, so he's towards the back, and then he was going to get a penalty. So he would have started at the back, right, because he didn't go straight to get weighed. So at that point, when I heard, well, he's not going to race, I thought he'd just say, "Oh, Daddy, I'm going to start from the back. There's no point. The car's not fast enough from the back. I'm going to take the weekend off." But then we heard the rumours about maybe where his anger was directed towards, like perhaps maybe a wall or whatever. And maybe he did damage one or both of his wrists, trying to take some of his anger out on something. I don't know. We don't know. We weren't there. But that's rumoured, is that he re-injured or injured his healing wrists, however you want to put it. In a fit of anger.
this is crazy. Like, this is a seasoned F1 driver. Like, he acts worse than a rookie, but he's a seasoned F1 driver. He's been there for a long time, and he's got Adrian Newey designing a potentially world championship winning car in 2026 or 2027, and we've got a guy punching a wall and inflaming an old wrist injury. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Nepotism
Couldn't
at its
agree
best,
more.
baby.
Couldn't agree more. I mean, if anyone in that garage should be punching the wall, it's Fernando, because he would be able to extract the future pace out of any future car, you know what I mean? Any pace that's there. But the fact that it's Stroll having the hissy fit, I'm like, well, I don't know where you'd be.
You're punching the wall, Chris.
Yeah.
How do you get locked out with that job?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, not much else to say, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's reported that the Aston Martin driver damaged equipment in the garage, swore at team members. I mean, this isn't the first time Stroll's had this kind of hissy fit and incident, right?
No, he's thrown steering wheels before.
Thrown steering wheels, run
We've
over
seen him
pit
pushing his
crew,
physio or whatever.
pushing physios. Like, the guy has anger issues. Apparently he was upset that he was qualifying so far behind his teammate, like half a second. What next? What next for this saga of Stroll? We don't need an F1 movie. We need a Stroll movie.
Oh.
My
What
Lord.
are you going to call it, Mike? So Kimi had The Seat, not very creatively named. What do we call Stroll's biopic on Netflix?
The wrist. I don't know.
I don't know. The air.
Guy. Yeah.
Prince Stroll, the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. What can we expect? More of the same, I guess. He's not going anywhere, unfortunately. And I don't see him changing anytime soon, so I think we can probably expect more of the same.
Yeah.
Until Adrian can give him that car that he wants. Daddy, give him that car.
Well, I'd like to see him out for like 3 races or something consistent, so at least another driver can get in there and go, look, this is what the driver's capable of, and this is what the car's capable of. Like like when kind of Vettel was in the car, we assumed that was the limit, but was it the limit? Obviously, we assume that Fernando's at the limit. Is it the limit? Like, you know.
Yeah, it would be great to see Dragovic get a few races. Absolutely.
Absolutely, because he hasn't raced in a car since F2 in 2022 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
And he was the F2
Formula
champion
car.
a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
but he's just been in purgatory career-wise.
Yeah.
I've read that he's willing to, you know, cancel his other commitments to come over to this, but I don't know. I don't. Is Daddy Stroll going to allow someone that will make Lance look that bad? Potentially, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think he will.
You think?
I think he'll allow it to happen, but he'll pull the other driver out no matter how good he is and put Lance back in the car.
Right.
But I think that that person has a Colapinto style reprieve or remit that he can then try and show off for a certain number of races and go, look, this is what I'm capable of. I mean, talking of that, Colapinto hasn't covered himself in too much glory in the last few races, but we'll see what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Is there an exit strategy coming from Team Stroll? Sell the team, retire Stroll, retire Lance, that is. I mean, how much longer can this go on? I mean, obviously, I think they'll probably push on till 26, because that's the big hope, right?
Well, I guess they planted the seed. This could be his permanent injury. Like, if things don't work out from him, they go, look, I'm permanently injured. I can't drive to my potential.
Yeah.
I have to step aside and then let another driver take the reins.
Yeah,
I did my best. This is a good psychological out. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. He's got his graceful exit if he needs it. But I mean, they'll keep him until he's driving. I'm sure they'll keep Lawrence will keep him until he's driving a newly designed car, and then see.
Yeah.
And then if it's not working out, then it's like, Lance, you don't need to do this.
Yeah. I mean, they're hoping it's going to be a Brawn GP season, you know, first season with this new car, new regs. Oh, we've got the equivalent of a double diffuser. Even Barrichello might have won the championship, maybe. Maybe a long shot with such a good car. And so, got to roll the dice.
Yeah. All right, let's get to our picks, guys. So, Vinyl, you had 1, 2, 3, Lando, then Oscar, then Charles. Mm-hmm. Very nicely done. You scored 4 points.
Yes. Only
Chris.
because Max did his thing.
Yeah. You had Oscar, Lando, Max. You scored 5 points. Well done. And I'm bring up the back. I had Oscar, Max, and George. Yikes. I scored only 3 points. So the leaderboard now stands. Mike, you have 5 points. I have 5 points. And Chris, you got 7 points. 2 point lead in the Fantasy F1 leaderboard.
Nice.
Nice. All right. What are your picks for Canada? Ladies and gents.
Canada. Well, it's not a downforce circuit, is it? I mean, that's how...
No, it's pretty quick. I mean, it's
quick
weird.
circuit.
There's few long straights, but there's some slow corners. It's at the end of long straight. You know what I mean? It's a bit of both, I guess.
Well, with slow corners, is that mechanical grip? Is that Ferrari? Ferrari always seems to do well
Yeah.
in Canada.
Also, the weather's often crazy there around this time of year when they race.
Talk you out of it, Vital. He's playing
So,
the edge.
you know.
Yeah, I'm going Leclerc, man. I'm going Leclerc. I'm not being talked out of it. Leclerc 1. I'm going Lando 2 because he's smooth.
Okay.
And I'm going Max 3. I think
Wow.
Oscar's going to meet the wall of champions at some stage. How about that? Bold prediction.
Wow.
Ooh.
Big Kahuna's call.
After his Monaco wall hit, I think he's going to have magnets in the wheels, going to go wall of champions.
Okay.
we
I'll go
Okay.
next, Chris. You go last
Yep.
because you're leading the championship.
Certainly.
I'll go Oscar. I'm gonna play it safe. I'm gonna play Oscar, Charles, George.
Where's Lando? Where's poor Lando?
No, it's not really safe actually. But I've got to do something different. I've got to go alternate strategy. I've got to try
We're
something
going double or
different.
nothing now, Mike. We've got to catch up. You know, I'm
That's
going to
right.
win my bets back.
I've got to do something from the back. This is how it starts and ends. I've got to try something different. Yeah, alternate pitch strategy from me. Chris?
Well, as the leader, I cannot play it conservative.
He's just going to pull away now. He's just going to go conservative and pull away from us.
Oscar Lando Max. The rest of the season.
Chris just locks it in every race. This is the same pick.
It's a safe bet.
Well,
Well,
Cut and
you guys could have had it. You guys could have picked it.
We've got to catch him. Alrighty.
This is not for money. This is entertainment. We got more entertainment points. We're getting more clicks than you, Chris.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed nobody picked Nico, but hey,
Nico didn't pick Nico.
yeah, that's right. This is true.
Bonus points for picking Lance. Alright.
To start.
To start. Anything else, guys? Do we want to talk about? Well, we've got the F1 movie coming up soon again, and we've got an F1 game review coming up soon, so we've got some things to look forward to in the coming weeks. Hope you guys will join us for that.
Yes.
That's about it, I think, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, as always.
Thanks
Thanks for
boys.
joining us.
Bye-bye.
Lovely to see everyone.
Lovely to see you.